Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia Martinez. I'm with the Other Side Village, and I'm here today with Ned. Ned, I'm so sorry. Tell us your last name and how to pronounce that. I've heard it three different ways.
Oh yeah, so my last name is Skanchy.
Skanchy.
And
Thank you so much.
yeah, you bet.
Perfect. So, Ned, please tell us a little bit about your specific background because you are an expert when it comes to housing.
Sure. So so I'm second generation in real estate essentially. And so I grew up around apartments, and as a kid, we'd mow the lawns and clean up the property, sweep the gutters and things like that. So my dad would have me do. And as I grew up, I kind of transitioned out with my dad and got involved. And so for the past 15, 20 years, we've been heavily involved in the multifamily industry. We're kind of a boutique apartment management investment company. And almost all of our all of our properties are in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. So, talk to me a little bit um, about the Salt Lake City housing situation, because I know that it has been interesting and difficult for the past couple of years, especially.
Certainly, yeah. So a few years ago, I started looking at, well, and everyone was looking at it, just the cost of housing. It was going up in Salt Lake City and in the areas, and what it took to afford a home. Um, and so more and more people were getting pushed out of the city, unable to afford a home here, and it trickles down. So then you have more, you know, more people renting apartments, and then in turn, more homeless individuals
Mm,
who um, can't find a place in Salt Lake City.
yeah. So, so one of the things that we've seen here in Salt Lake City is the challenges that the city as a whole and our community as a whole have faced when it comes to addressing our homeless population, because they are a population, they're people, and they're citizens here in this city as well. Tell us about some of the things that you've observed.
Well, I think my we're based in Sugar House, and so it's not uncommon for us to walk over to Sugar House Park, or I'll go over and walk over there during the day, and there are people camped out in the park and along the path towards Sugar House Park. So we're seeing that. We also have seen in our properties uh, more homeless people coming into our properties. I
Mm,
had a phone call that I thought was interesting a little while ago, probably a year ago. It was a leasing phone call, and it was a typical leasing phone call. People say, "Hey, what's your rent? What's your deposit?" And then the woman on the phone said, "What's the homeless situation at your property?"
mm,
And it was a good question because just recently had a complaint come in about someone coming into the property, and a homeless individual who came into the property and was wandering the halls. And then we also have had people living in kind of the parking structures.
right.
So it was top of mind for renters as they're looking for these things. And this is how bad the problem's gotten, in that people are looking for a place to live, or asking, what's the homeless situation around
Yeah.
this area? So that's true from Sugar House to Capitol Hill, where we have apartments.
Yeah. So as a property owner and as a property manager, um, what are the solutions for helping to mitigate that while still operating with a degree of compassion?
Right. So people who live at our properties are paying for, in some cases, a secure access building where they're not expecting to run into somebody uh, who's wandering the halls, and they're paying for a place to park their car that someone else isn't, you know, there when they go out to their car, and
Mhm.
startling them and frightening them. So we are trying to balance that, because we do have compassion for these individuals who are struggling with homelessness, mental health, other issues. We want to try and help them find a way out of that, but also providing the service and the experience that we want our residents and customers to have. So we have had a hard time, um, you know, the inclination is to, be very, very compassionate until it starts impacting your life.
Yeah.
So I generally see people who are very compassionate with the homeless, but then they start saying, well, someone's living in my parking stall, or someone's wandering the halls.
Mm.
And then it tends to change a little bit. And so we are trying to find a way to make that balance that, which is why we're supporting the village and what they're doing there. And we, with our portfolio of apartments and our residents, are trying to raise money for the village.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you first heard about the Other Side Village. How did they land on your radar?
Sure. So my first exposure to the Other Side Village, I called a friend of mine, Scott Howell, who I knew was working on homelessness in the city. And I said, what can we do? I've got to get involved in this. I want to make a difference. And so I started working with Scott, and he mentioned that there was this new village coming down the pipe that he thought was going to make a big difference. And he said, the big game changer with this, more than just other housing projects that have been done, is the Other Side Academy's culture and the way they run things. My first exposure. So I've seen the movers, I'd seen the boutique store, but I didn't really know what the Other Side Academy was all about initially. I was happy to see that people were thinking about changes in how we were addressing homelessness. I mean, the reality is we're spending more and more every year on homelessness, yet the problem continues to get worse.
Yeah.
So we need new ideas. We need some people with entrepreneurial background to come at this, like the Other Side Academy and Village have done, and try and make something different than what we've done in the past. So that was my first exposure. I started helping out with the land committee, identifying where the village would be located. And then I think the real game changer for me was when I took a tour of the Other Side Academy. So I'd heard a lot about how the Other Side Academy and Other Side Village would operate, but it wasn't until I went on the tour and saw how they were changing lives at the academy that I really said, this is our best bet. This is what we have to do to change homelessness in Salt Lake City, to try and get people to change their lives and find a new path.
Yeah. I think that the thing that I pulled out, most of all from what you said, is we've been spending all this money and not solving the problem. Let's look for other solutions. And you're an entrepreneur, so you've kind of experienced firsthand the power of entrepreneurism to benefit and change lives, and then applying that template along with some restorative justice seems like an amazing solution.
Yeah, I really believe in the power of entrepreneurship, and to come in and change, to solve problems. Essentially, that's how I look at entrepreneurism.
Mm-hmm.
It's just solving problems. And if we can come together as a community, we can put forth the best ideas, we can try new ideas, then we'll find solutions faster. If we keep trying to do the same thing we've always done, we'll keep getting what we've always got.
Yeah. And now you are on the development committee for the village. Tell me about what you've been working on.
So, my particular role on that has been, I guess what I've liked about being on the development committee is trying to get the message out about the village and about what it can become. So we've kind of looked at it a few different ways. We said, look, let's try and let's get our community to build a village. Because I think the more people who get involved in the effort, the more people who, instead of handing out a $5 bill on the side of the road, but take that $5 and put it toward the village, the more people we can have doing that, the more successful we become, because our whole community will understand and be invested in what this new idea, this new concept the village is putting forth can be. So I'm focused on a very grassroots effort, which is why we've asked our residents to donate to the village, and then we're offering to match that. But anything from $5 to $10 is great.
Yeah.
And take the money that you would be giving to someone on the side of the road and put that into something that can really help change their lives.
Yeah. Something that doesn't just make a difference for, a few minutes, but makes an impact that's long-term and lasting.
Exactly.
I love what you talked about, that essentially you gave a challenge to your renters to help solve the problem as well, by donating, but also that you will match their donations.
Yeah.
And that is also a unique solution.
Well, thank you. We kind of started brainstorming ideas to raise money, and I thought, there's a lot of people who live in apartments all throughout the valley, and apartment rents keep going up. But can we help tap into those people? As often it's those people who live in these more urban areas in the apartments that are most affected by the homeless population and what's happening in Salt Lake City. So I'd love to challenge other management companies and other property owners to do the same, to issue a challenge to their residents to donate toward the village, and then offer to match that, to
Yeah.
back that with their investors and with their other partners. What we've seen is we've seen some great, people putting up $25, $30, $100. But it's been great to see that people are stepping up and trying to make a difference here. And they see they don't like what's happening in the city. They don't like what's the impact of the homelessness on the city is negative. If you look at San Francisco and other big cities, they've lost their charm in a lot of ways because they haven't found a solution to help deal with the homelessness issues in the city. And we don't want Salt Lake to follow that suit. We want it to still be a beautiful city that we can feel comfortable walking around downtown. We can feel comfortable walking out to our cars, and not feel like we're going to run into somebody unexpectedly. And so our residents see that, and they want to make a difference. They want to be proud of the city and proud of the solutions that it's putting forward to solve homelessness.
Yeah. Amazing. Are there any final thoughts that you have, about your involvement with the other side, or what you've seen as somebody that's involved with the solution for homelessness here in our city?
Well, I think as any individual or anyone's looking at solutions to homelessness, we have to think about where do we want to spend our time and effort. And as I said before, if we keep doing the same thing we've always done, we'll get what we've always got. What the village is putting out there is a new idea. It's a concept that they've proven in the Other Side Academy for changing people's lives, for helping people develop the skills to interact with the community and the larger world in a very positive way. So it can happen. We've seen it happen in the academy. We're going to do the same thing at the village. So what I would say is this is our best bet. The village is our best bet for a new solution to help address homelessness and to help take people out of homelessness, to help them take them out of the cycle they're stuck in.
Thank you so much, Ned, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your efforts. And thank you to your tenants as well for doing what they're able to do to also help make a difference. Anybody that has been listening in today, if you have any questions about the Other Side Village, please visit the website, theothersidevillage.com. There's a lot of information there, including how you can help and how you can donate as well. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great day. Thanks, Ned.
Thanks you.